His name is David Craig. David came into my life when I was minister of Unity Church of Greenville. David was a couple years older than I was, but that made no difference. We hit it off immediately. Even though he was hurting, or perhaps because of it, our friendship grew deep. David was down on his luck. He had just gone through a divorce. He was unemployed. He was living with his aunt. When Caroline and I were married, David was my best man. David has worked as an actor in New York City. He had also been involved in television and radio. He had a beautiful speaking voice. Many things often happen in churches. We parted company. There was a period of time when I did not see or talk to David. A conference of Unity ministers got us back together. We not only shared a ride, we also shared a room. It was about this time that I moved away from Greenville. Even though we'd worked out some of our difficulties, we still did not keep in touch. We did not phone, nor did we see each other. I'd heard that David had remarried and was very happy. Every time I visited Greenville, I would say to Caroline, I want to call David. This went on for a couple of years. One Monday afternoon on my break, after a weekend visit to Greenville, I called him. His wife answered the phone. I said, hi, this is Larry. I just wanted to get reacquainted with David. And she said, David died of cancer 2 weeks ago. He has fought it for a year and a half. I was shocked and could barely speak through my tears. She told me he had esophageal cancer. He had fought it well and even made some progress, but he had lost his voice. That beautiful, melodic voice was now silenced. Then his downward turn continued, and he died. With this news, I had to get off of the phone because I could no longer speak. I was stricken with grief. All that time he had been ill, and I had not known about it because I had not reached out to him. I still carry that guilt with me today. We'd eaten together, laughed together, worked together, and prayed together. And now he was gone out of my life forever. Well, almost. Sometimes when I get real quiet and listen intensely, I can still hear that beautiful laugh of his. Why would I choose to share such a sad story? The reason in a few moments. I have a confession to make. I like chick flicks, but only good ones. I also like other genres of movies, Western, comedies, mysteries. Did I mention Westerns? I usually tell Caroline that we're going to see 2 movies in one, action and adventure. Some time ago I saw the movie The Bucket List, which reminded me of when I was a hospice chaplain. It starred Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson. They met as roommates in a cancer ward. They had lived in different worlds until their common experience brought them together. The movie is the story of what they did with the time they had left after their terminal diagnosis. They made a bucket list. A list of all the things they wanted to do before they kicked the bucket. They went skydiving, got tattooed, raced cars. They went to the Eiffel Tower on a safari in Africa, climbed the pyramids. They visited the Taj Mahal and the Great Wall of China and even attempted to climb a mountain in Tibet. I'll speak more about their journey and what they learned later. Hear about the 4 couples that were invited to a dinner party. As the hosts were preparing the table, There was a lively discussion in the living room on politics and religion. When the guests invite them into the dining room, there is an elephant sitting on the dining room table. The discussion continues, but it is more subdued. They're passing dishes of food and eating, but no one mentions the elephant. The elephant's name is death. Of all the topics I could have spoken about today, why would I choose to speak about death? Well, we do live in a death-defying society. We often spoke more about politics and religion than we do about death. But life is a terminal condition. One writer put it poetically, life is like stepping on a boat, getting ready to go out to sea and sink. Someone wrote, if I survive this life without dying, I'll be surprised. As a hospice chaplain, when I would hold the hand of a person who was in the throes of death, I would become more aware of my own life. What I named as sacred, how I wanted to use my time. Why am I using your precious time to speak about death? Because death only appears to be the theme. The theme is life and how to have more of it. Please understand, we mistakenly believe that if we accept our death, we will begin to die. The reverse is true. When we accept our death and know we are already dying, then we are free to live. It's imperative that we look at this time between what we call birth and death. I took an English lit class in junior college 56 years ago, taught by Miss Coffey. She introduced me to Shakespeare. This is what I found on the internet in about 2 minutes. Things have changed a lot in 56 years. All of our yesterdays have lighted fools to the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour on the stage, and then is heard no more. If we believe that we are actors that strut and fret on a stage for a while and then are gone, then we will miss this life experience. How sad that would be, or how sad it is. How then shall we live? One of the most fruitful practices we can do is one that gently leads us into ourselves, just as we are, into that innate perfection of our true nature. If we are unsure of who we are, we live life tentatively, always guessing at where we should go and what we should do. But when we know who we are and feel comfortable with ourselves, we can begin to lead clearly and courageously. We're then guided toward what is necessary and right. Well, how then shall we live? Jesus proclaimed that I am the light of the world, meaning he knew he was created by God and had God qualities within. But he didn't stop at that step. He went further. Had he stopped there, we might have believed that he was special and that we are not. He also proclaimed that you are the light of the world. You, Sydney, Joan, Melanie, Linda, all of you are the light of the world. He also said, let your light so shine before men that they know that you are a light in the world. And letting our light so shine is what we want to accomplish. Here are a few suggestions. Are we living an active life? It's interesting to see the changes in retirement. Retirement used to mean that you went and sat in a rocker, often in Florida, and waited on death. This has and is, and I think will continue to change. Part of the change is due to longer lifespans, but some people are not content to lead a sedentary life. We see ads for the active community for the over 50. There should be ads for the active community for over the 60, over 70, and over 80. Are we living creatively? One of the joys in my life are my grandchildren. I was there when they were born, played with them as toddlers, went to their baseball games and violin recitals, and now they are 14 and 16 and rapidly approaching adulthood. I don't worry about them playing computer games or texting on their smartphones. What I see in them and in other children is that they are not only smart and funny, they are also creative. Let us seek out avenues where we can use our creativity. Are we living a life of passion? Are we passionate about our jobs, our friends, and our free time? Are we passionate about our spiritual life? And if not, why not? One of my passions is movies. You may have guessed that by now. I recently saw a movie about a passionate toy maker, Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, starring Dustin Hoffman. Eccentric 243-year-old Edward Megorium owns a magical toy shop. Unexpectedly, he announces that he is getting ready to leave. His apprentice Mahoney didn't understand what he was saying. She asked, "Are you dying?" And he said, "Light bulbs die, my dear. I am departing." He says, "You can't die. You have to live." And he said, "I've already done that." He also tells her that life is an experience. Rise to it. Life is an experience. Rise to it. If we are not passionate about life, it is just slip sliding away. Are we enthusiastic? The word enthusiasm literally means in God. It means supernatural inspiration, not just human inspiration. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm." I know I watch too much TV and perhaps too many movies. I know I should read more. So I made the decision this year to read my Bible cover to cover, Genesis to Revelations. I've approached that Bible reading enthusiastically. On January the 1st, I had 981 pages to read. Today, 57. Enthusiasm can overcome many shortcomings we think that we have. The last suggestion may sound frivolous. It is not. When Caroline and I first met, we did a lot of talking. I found a sign that I would put between us whenever we were talking, and it said this: "Are we having fun yet?" Let me ask you, are you having fun yet? With your free time, with your family, with your friends? Do you have fun at work and with your co-workers? Do we, as did the seven dwarfs, whistle while we work? We can be active, creative, passionate, enthusiastic, and we can have fun. We can be that light in the world. I believe that is the plan, that we are to live life to the fullest. Jesus said, I came that they might have life and have it abundantly. There's some people who do not think about life until they receive a terminal diagnosis. Let me assure you, by then, it's too late. I need to examine my life on a daily basis. What am I giving to the world? How will I be remembered? This point is beautifully illustrated in the movie Saving Private Ryan. In World War II, 3 of 4 brothers had been killed in combat. Captain Miller, portrayed by Tom Hanks, and his squad are sent behind enemy lines to find Private Ryan and send him home. They find him, but before they can rescue him, a battle ensues. Captain Miller is mortally wounded. As he is dying, Private Ryan kneels down in front of him. And Captain Miller tells him, earn this. With his dying breath, he says, earn this. At the end of the movie, Ryan, now an old man, stands before the tombstone of Captain Miller in Normandy and asks his wife, tell me I've had a good life. And she says, you have. Tell me I'm a good man. And she says, you are. Ryan then stands at attention and salutes the tombstone of Captain Miller. When I get to that point in my life and I ask my children, tell me I've had a good life and that I'm a good man, I want to hear them affirm, you have and you are. The singular life of ours is a pearl of great price. This is how we should live. To know who we are, to live like there is no tomorrow, and to not die with our music still in us. I'm sure all of us would like to go back in time and to change some of the mistakes and poor decisions that we have made. In the movie About Time, a young man comes from my family that are time travelers who change history for the better. He used his power a little bit differently. If he was out on a date that didn't go well, he would go into his closet, shut the door, and then go back to their first meeting. As a lawyer, if he had a bad day in court, he would go back in time and change the verdict. If he longed to be with his father, he would travel back in time to that special moment that he wanted. Near the end of the movie, he says, I think I have learned the final lesson from my travels in time. The truth is, I don't travel back at all, not even for a day. I just try to live every day deliberately, to enjoy it as if it were the full final day of my extraordinary, ordinary life. And he concludes, we are all travelers through time together, every day of our life. All we can do is our best to relish this remarkable life. Good advice. Let's take some time now in prayer and meditation.